You think you're strong until you realize you're a prisoner, chained not by iron, but by impulse. It starts as a flicker, a glance that lingers too long, a thought you didn't cast down, a craving you didn't question. Lust never comes loud. It whispers. It wears the mask of harmless curiosity, but behind the smile is a snare, and many men have smiled back only to wake up shackled and ruined. Ask yourself, how many destinies have burned? Not from failure, not from enemies, but from one man's inability to tell his flesh no. That's how kings fall. That's how marriages rot. That's how families fracture. Lust is the slow death. It steals a man's focus first, then his time, then his standards, until finally it swallows his soul whole. You were not created to be weak, but lust makes even the strongest man fragile, not because of what it offers, but because of what it steals. Vision, conviction, honor, peace. What good is a man with muscles in the gym if he has no muscles in his will? What good is ambition in business if he has no discipline in desire? Lust doesn't just make a man sinful, it makes him sloppy. He can't focus. He can't build. Because everything becomes noise. Every woman becomes an object. Every moment becomes temptation. But here's the danger. Lust will always offer more than it can give. It promises relief. It delivers regret. It tells you, just one more time, but there's never one. The more you feed it, the hungrier it gets. It's not love, it's not connection, it's consumption. And men who live to consume eventually consume themselves. You think this is just about porn? Just about a few late-night clicks or a private habit? You're mistaken. This is about your mind. This is about your masculinity. This is about whether you'll be a man of principle or a man of appetite. Because appetite without boundaries becomes addiction. And addiction without repentance becomes destruction. It's not that lust is stronger than you, it's that you've been feeding it like a pet and calling it just a phase. It's not a phase, it's a fire, and you've been pouring gasoline on it with every scroll, every stare, every compromise. You think you can manage it. You can't. You think you can outsmart it. You won't. Lust doesn't need your permission to destroy you, just your indifference. Let me tell you something brutal. Lust doesn't just want your pleasure, it wants your purpose. It wants your marriage before you even have one. It wants your children before they're even born. It wants to reduce your legacy to ash and echo. You were called to lead, but how can you lead when your soul is being led by shadows and screenlight? You were made for dominion, not defeat. You were made to guard, not gaze. But a man who cannot master his eyes will never master his future. Understand this. The way you handle lust is the way you handle your entire life. Because if you can't win the battle in private, don't expect victory in public. If you can't fight for your integrity, don't pretend you're building something worth leading. It's time to wake up. The enemy doesn't need to destroy you if he can distract you. And lust is the most effective distraction he's got. He'll flood your feed with temptation. He'll turn your idleness into indulgence. He'll convince you that being a man means chasing everything in a dress. But manhood is not conquest. It's control. Self-control. Any fool can chase beauty. Only a real man builds it. Any fool can indulge. Only a real man abstains. Because that's where the real power is. Not in what you can take, but in what you can resist. So what do? You starve it. You starve lust, the same way you starve any parasite. You cut off its source, you dry up its comfort, you make it uncomfortable to stay. First, guard your eyes. If you don't see it, you won't crave it. You can't flirt with fire and expect not to get burned. Every glance is a seed, every scroll is a sermon, and every seed grows. So what are you planting? Second, fill your mind with truth. Your mind is a battlefield, and if you're not actively filling it with light, darkness will occupy it by default. Watch what you listen to. Watch what you watch. What you entertain you is training you. You're not just watching a show, you're shaping your soul. Third, kill isolation. Lust grows best in secret, in shame, in silence. Get accountability. Get community. Don't let pride be the reason you stay chained. You're not the only one struggling, but you might be the only one pretending you're not. Fourth, get up and live. Some of you aren't addicted to lust. You're addicted to boredom. You have no mission, no drive, no vision. So you scroll, you sit, you waste. And in that stillness, sin finds a throne. Move, sweat, build. Pursue something that pulls you out of your pit. A man on a mission has no time for masturbation. A man with purpose has no appetite for poison. So, find your purpose. Find your reason to rise in the morning, because lust loses its power when you're too focused to be distracted. And lastly, stop thinking this is about you. It's not. Your sin doesn't just destroy your peace, it ripples. It poisons every relationship. It sabotages every blessing. Your future wife deserves a man who has mastered his flesh. Your future children deserve a father whose eyes are clean, whose hands are steady, whose heart is full. Not a man broken by secret sins. Not a man haunted by digital chains. You think this is just about pleasure, but it's about legacy. And legacies are built not by perfect men, but by disciplined ones. By men who fall, but get up. By men who say no, even when they're alone. By men who fight, not just for purity, but for power. The power to look your children in the eyes and say, I didn't just talk about righteousness, I lived it. The power to look your wife in the eyes and say, my love is not divided, it's yours alone. The power to look God in the face and say, I was tempted, but I didn't bow. That's real strength. Not in how many women you can chase, but in how many you can walk away from. Not in how much you feel, but in how much you control. Not in the absence of desire, but in the presence of discipline. Because discipline is desire under control. Lust says, I want it now. Discipline says, it's not worth it. Lust says, just this once. Discipline says, not on my watch. And that's enough. Because the man you're becoming is watching, and he's counting on you to make the hard choice now so he can live in freedom later. You won't always feel strong. You won't always feel holy, but you always have a choice. And when you choose to master lust, you're not just saying no to temptation, you're saying yes to every door God has prepared for you. Yes to peace, yes to purpose, yes to power, yes to love. Real love, not the cheap imitation, not the pixelated lie, not the fleeting moment, but love that lasts. Love that builds. Love that honors. You are not your urges. You are not your failures. You are not your past. You are who you choose to become. And today, you can choose to be free. Not because it's easy, but because you were built for this. You were made to overcome. You were made to conquer. You were made to be a man worthy of the life you're praying for. So stop playing small. Stop treating lust like a pet. Stop delaying the greatness God has placed in you. Make war. Starve the fire. Choose discipline. Choose legacy. Choose life. Because every moment you say no to lust, you say yes to something greater. And brother, that's how you win.